Pain is just the universe's way of teaching us. People just go through life with a lot of unconscious pain. So to know yourself is to watch your thoughts and emotions and not identify with them because you are the sky and they are moving in you.
So,
Yeah.
why do we need balance?
We don't need balance. Balance is what is. There's nothing that can be without balance. So when you say you need balance, it means there is imbalance somewhere. No, it is you who is away. It's your perspective. Yes, your perspective that is away from balance itself, because balance is what, like I said, is what is. So the motion to and away from balance doesn't touch on the balance of everything else. It is the reality of things. Nothing exists without balance. It is impossible.
What is balance?
Balance to me is the core of being, the element of God. The reason why you say this is. Yeah, so it can't be away from creation itself. It is because of balance that everything exists as it is. So in life, as much as sometimes you might feel like you're out of balance, that is not the case. You are just in balance. It's only that you have to go through what you're going through for you to reach the next stage where you realize I was always in balance. Yeah, so balance is the core of being. Yeah, you can't move away from that.
So, for someone who's feeling out of balance,
Yeah.
because it's an actual feeling,
Yeah, it's an actual feeling.
what do you tell them?
There's a spectrum. In balance, there's a spectrum. That's why you see in the balance of laws, that Lady Liberty holding the scales, there's always that motion of going up and down. And there's the fulcrum, I think that's the name. So balance is the core, is that fulcrum. The motion is always up and down. And with experience, with time, you realize that as much as you go up and down, you always come to a balance, to a certain level where you say, this is why I went through what I went through. So if you're going through if you're out of balance, or you're going through something that you can call imbalance, just know that that is experience teaching you to walk through the next distance you have to go through to reach balance. Because essentially, what I'm trying to say is that you cannot avoid that experience that you have that is causing the imbalance or seeming like imbalance. But there's a reason. In the Bible it's written, let me refer to the Bible today. In the Bible it's written that there was the fall of man. And the fall of man wasn't the fall of God. So the fall of man is the essence of the imbalance of man to me. And since it's not the fall of God, it's not the fall of God, and God never fall. The essence of God is what is balance. So the motion from the fall of man to the essence of God is what we are going through, and we are going through imbalance towards the achievement of balance. Yeah.
But someone can argue,
Yeah.
we are God.
Yeah.
So, the question of falling, the question of imbalance,
Yeah.
is essentially non-existent.
Exactly. And if you say we are God, it means that the fall was never happened. It was something intentional that we had to learn through experience. So the fall of man is a curiosity, is something to do with curiosity, man wanting to know. And it means that even if man feels imbalanced, uncomfortable, or admonished by anything in existence because of the apparent fall, it is by way of man's will that he could say that you can say there is no fall of man. It was all a venture of curiosity. What you're telling me is like, you can argue that there was no fall of man, and I agree. because we are going through these things, we are going through the imbalances, and we reach moments of balance. You understand? So in the Bible it's written, the fall of man is written so that man can recalibrate towards balance. To know that there is never imbalance even when you're going through the storm. Yeah, that's my point. Even when it seems like there is imbalance, you are still walking, your voice is still tall, and your stride is still strong. And you must reach the end because you're built for a purpose. Yeah.
So, there are people who can argue,
Yeah.
whether rightly or not, that the Bible and religion in general has caused a lot of quote-unquote imbalance.
To me, religion has a deeper meaning. It's not out of conventional understanding about religion, the way the preacher is going to tell it to you. No, it's something very deep and personal. Because there is the esoteric meaning, esoteric meaning and exoteric meaning. There is the spiritual meaning of the written word, and there is the physical meaning, the physical interpretation of the written word. So when you reach the esoteric, which is the spiritual, you understand that religion itself is not something, it's not a basis for division among men, or feeling like you are not, it is not up to par with their philosophies, because religion itself is the basis of philosophy, as much as also philosophy is the basis for religion. They go hand in hand. Understand? So the thing is, when you go to the esoteric levels, the spiritual meanings, you realize that there is no one religion that doesn't speak for all religions. Be it Hinduism, be it Islam, be it Christianity. As much as exoterically on the surface level, they seems like they are differing. No, there is no difference. They stand for the same principles, and those principles are what we are made of as human beings. Because there are some sects that say, place principles before personalities. So when you judge a religion by what is written and not what is engraved on your being, you are judging the personality. But the principles behind it is what doesn't differ from within any religious sect.
There are people
Yeah.
who intentionally
Yeah.
create imbalance
Yeah.
for their own benefit. Greed, corporations, things like that. Let me give an example. Someone will create a product that will harm people so that they can create another product that will treat the harm that has been caused by the initial product. For example, sugar processing.
Yeah, I understand.
You know?
Yeah, but you have to realize that that guy has never been intentional in his life. That guy is always within the spectrum of illusion. Because if he was intentional, he was dealing from the core of his being, he won't do something that is only recurrently exposing the larger population into harm. So he's not dealing from a place of understanding. He's dealing from a place of greed, and greed is illusion. So that person is not intentional at all. He doesn't know himself. You understand? So you cannot argue with him. You can be yourself by knowing yourself. If you know yourself is when you can see that person because the people who this person is manipulating are people who don't know themselves. So it's about the core of existence. Where do you operate from? Do you operate from the surface level where things are defined for you, the systems are defining your existence and how you should live your life, or do you operate from the spiritual level or the universal level? Because from my understanding, when you're talking about a person who intentionally manipulates another human being, you're talking about the universal order and the world order. In the world order, you can be manipulated, but if you are in the universal order, where So there's a universal order which is eternal. The world order is one which changes. So if you're in the world order, you can be manipulated. And anybody who is changing things in the world order doesn't know himself because he doesn't belong to his core, which is the universe. World order, the world systems. Yeah, like capitalism, communism, all these narratives that we have in place that try to define the ends of man's life. Those are the world orders. Because essentially we don't have any problem inside ourselves that we need to solve. They are all put out for us to consider solving them. But we don't really relate to any problem in life because we are universal spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. Understand? So the world order is the world of narratives. And the spiritual order, the universal order, is the world of silence and being. That's the difference.
We are spirit beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
What if it was our creation,
Yeah.
the imbalance,
Yeah.
quote unquote, so that we can know the opposite of balance?
Exactly. That's what you're telling me, because it's like telling the way we argued in the first instance that the fall wasn't something that was not intentional. The fall could be intentional for man, so that it is his creation. He has chosen to go through the illusion so that he can know what entails all illusion, so that he can make the difference between reality and illusion. It is our creation. People just go through life with a lot of unconscious pain. But if you make this pain conscious and you take the responsibility for the pain and you overcome the sense of responsibility, you pass that responsibility to your creator, you realize that you're a free agent moving in a spiritual universe where you have no responsibility at all, but your creator is what takes the responsibility for you. So even if you're going through pain or suffering, you know very well that it is just something that is passing. It goes with the level of consciousness that you are in life, that you're experiencing life with.
You're talking about pain as an element of, let me call it the imbalance.
Yeah.
One element of the imbalance.
Unconsciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
How can someone embrace that pain or that imbalance to further their journey? Or can that even be done?
You're not supposed to embrace imbalance, but you're supposed to embrace pain. And I'm telling you, because pain is inescapable. It's the teaching process of the universe. No one can even absolve you from pain. However well off you are, you will pass through pain. And it is the universe's way of telling you that this is wrong, this is right. And it is also the universe's way of growing you, of graduating you on a level of consciousness. You understand? So pain is an essential in life to a given extent, because we are moving through pain because we are hoping for a space that has no pain, or for a space that has transcended pain. Because when you're going through pain, you have not transcended pain. But if you transcend pain, you see it for what it is, and it does not affect you. So pain is just the universe's way of teaching us about who we are and what we can become by going through what we go through in life. Yeah.
Is there a point where we can be without pain or transcend pain?
That one, I don't know. We can transcend pain, but I don't know if we can be without pain. Transcending pain is seeing it for what it is. It doesn't mean you don't experience it, but you don't identify with it. It doesn't affect you as much as it is there. That is transcendence. But I don't know in this life of this world of earth if we can ever live without pain. however much. The secret is to see it for what it is. It doesn't have to be physical pain. You can live without physical pain for the rest of your life. And by God's grace, that is. But emotional pain and all that are there, but you have to transcend them. You have to see them for what they are. They are not supposed to affect you at all, because they are not you. They are just, pain is caused by attitudes and moods. Yesterday I came up with an epiphany hit me that it's very unfair, gravely unfair for a human being to live by attitudes and moods. Attitudes and moods means that you change by whatever comes, hits your body and brain and your emotions and feelings. And you change your moods based on that, which means you don't know yourself. So these emotions, which are like clouds, they touch you and they affect you. That is what causes pain. And you're not, if you see them for what they are, they cannot affect you as much. However painful they will be so painful, but very separate from you because you have transcended them. Yeah.
You're talking about seeing the pain.
Seeing the pain, yeah.
And transcending it.
Yeah.
Practically, how do you do that?
In simple terms, it's about knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is knowing what entails who you are as an emotional being and as a physical being. You have a mental process and an emotional process. And these mental process, which entails thoughts and emotions, they come and go as is their nature. They're like clouds. The sky is always there, but the clouds always move. They don't touch the sky. So essentially, your consciousness is the sky. And these thoughts and emotions are the clouds. So to know yourself is to watch your thoughts and emotions and not identify with them, because you are the sky and they are moving in you. So when you see them for what they are, you don't identify with them. You let them be and let them pass, as is their nature to pass. Yeah. And that way you'll transcend their effects upon your life, and you will see more clearly and grow consciously with time. This is the case for balance. Has there ever been imbalance? How could that be? Imbalance is the only impossibility there is. For imbalance would mean no meaning, no purpose, no order. All existence is built on balance. Imbalance only exists in belief, in seemingness, not in knowledge, not in certitude, not in truth. The sun rises and sets, balance. The moon cycles, the seasons turn, balance. The river flows from highland rains, balance. The stars hold firm in the vastness of space, balance. The planets glide in orbit, never colliding, balance. There is an order to things that not even the will to power can alter. Iron may bend attitudes, but no sweat and blood can tip the scales of balance. For balance is the very core of life, and change moves within the spectrum of balance. Every potential plays in its spectrum. Beyond balance, only its source exists. Balance is the element of the source. The lowest depths, the highest heights, both reach because of balance. The philosopher, the balance between the innermost religion and the outermost science. No interval, no divide, for balance proves that two is an illusion and one is indivisible. Balance, the king's crown, his confidence in the narrow path of truth. No seeking, no losing, for balance leads ever to itself. Awareness is the way of balance, so walk like a planet orbiting space, aware of the fullness of the emptiness that surrounds you. For there is where balance there dwells. There is what keeps you your motion. Balance, the reason the insignificant is, so the significant may be. Balance, the foundation for all elemental order, all purpose, all meaning. So if you ever seem out of order, out of balance, remember, there can never be imbalance, only balance. Thank you.